The scene opens in the heart of a vast, cold space station, floating far beyond the reach of any human outpost. It's a grand council chamber where the leaders of the galaxy's most powerful species gather. The walls are adorned with alien symbols that shimmer under the soft glow of the lights, casting long shadows across the room. The air hums with the buzzing energy of sophisticated technologies, and the faint sound of hushed conversations echoes throughout the space. At the center of the room is a large, circular table made of a sleek, metallic material that reflects the faces of the council members. They are a diverse group: tall, slim, reptilian beings with sharp scales, short, stocky creatures with glowing eyes, and insectoid aliens whose 6 limbs buzz with nervous energy. Despite their differences, one thing unites them: their belief in their superiority. The council members are discussing their latest conquest, Earth, a small and insignificant planet they all agreed was nothing more than a speck in the grand design of the galaxy. They had studied humanity, and despite Earth's technological progress, the aliens viewed the humans as primitive, too weak, too disorganized, and too distracted by their own petty problems to pose any threat. The chief representative, a towering figure from the Zorvian race, leans forward and addresses the group in a deep, almost mocking voice. His thin lips curl into a smirk as he speaks. They think they can resist us. His voice resonates through the chamber, each word dripping with scorn. Their technology is nothing compared to ours. We'll sweep them aside like dust. The other aliens laugh, their voices filling the room, as they share their disbelief at the thought of Earth defending itself. A small, spider-like creature with glowing eyes clicks its mandibles together and adds, "Their weapons are rudimentary at best. We will break them in no time." Another member, a robot with a sleek, chrome surface, speaks next. "The Zorvian military will lead the assault. Once their defenses fall, Earth's resources will be ours to control. The planet will be reduced to rubble, and we will take what we need." They all agree. Earth's fate is sealed. The council members already envision the riches they will gain from Earth's resources and the destruction they will bring upon the human race. Their laughter fills the chamber as they plan their invasion. But as the council members celebrate their perceived victory, something strange happens. Far beyond the solar system, on the edge of the galaxy, something stirs. It begins with a faint hum, barely detectable by the most advanced sensors. It's dismissed as an anomaly, a minor fluctuation in the energy field. But the hum grows louder, and it becomes clear. This is no ordinary event. The energy surge intensifies, rippling through the fabric of space. Suddenly, a strange signal, unlike anything the Council has encountered before, flashes across their screens. It's fleeting, gone as quickly as it appears, but not before the Zorvian leader notices. He furrows his brow, confused. "What is that?" he growls. A technician, the smallest member of the group, taps frantically on his console, trying to identify the source of the anomaly. His face grows pale. "It's coming from near Earth's solar system," he announces, his voice trembling with uncertainty. But it's not possible. The council falls silent. The Zorvian leader's eyes narrow. "Explain yourself." The technician's fingers hover over the controls. "The surge, it's like nothing we've ever seen. It's too powerful to be a natural event, but it's not anything we've ever detected before. It's as if it's coming from a source we didn't know existed." The room goes still. The aliens exchange worried glances. Could it be a trap? A last-ditch defense from Earth? Impossible, they think. Earth was weak, but the uncertainty gnaws at them, and for a moment, a wave of doubt sweeps over the council. "What do we do?" one of the alien leaders asks nervously. The Zorvian leader raises his hand, silencing the room. "It's nothing. A cosmic fluke. Ignore it. We continue with the invasion plans." But even as he dismisses the surge, he can't shake the feeling that something is off. He leans back in his chair, his fingers tapping rhythmically on the table. Deep down, he feels the stirrings of something unknown, something dangerous. Meanwhile, back on Earth, no one has any idea that the galaxy's most powerful species are planning their downfall. In a small command center beneath the Earth's surface, hidden from the prying eyes of the galaxy, a different story is unfolding. Commander Adam Bonner, a tall, broad-shouldered man with piercing blue eyes, stares at the massive holographic map in front of him. His hands are steady, his gaze intense. He knows that today is the day. Bonner has been preparing for this moment his entire life. Earth's secret fleet, the one the rest of the galaxy thought was just a myth, is about to reveal itself. For decades, humanity has kept its military strength hidden away from the rest of the universe, carefully building and maintaining a fleet capable of defending the planet against any threat. No one, except for a select few, knew of the fleet's existence. Humanity's most brilliant scientists, engineers, and strategists worked in secret, developing cloaking technology, artificial intelligence, and advanced warships that could hold their own against the galaxy's most powerful enemies. And now, the time has come to use it. Bonner's eyes flicker with determination. His mind races through the countless scenarios he's prepared for. His fleet is ready. The moment they've been waiting for is about to arrive. He glances at the console in front of him, his finger poised over a single button. This is the moment that will change everything. The energy surge that the aliens had dismissed as a fluke is no accident. It is the signal, the final activation of Earth's secret fleet. Bonner, from his command center, is the only human in the galaxy who truly understands the gravity of the situation. He knows the aliens have underestimated humanity, but they will soon learn how wrong they are. Activate the fleet, Bonner orders calmly. A series of rapid commands are issued, and the hidden ships emerge from the wormholes, cloaked from the eyes of the alien invaders. The fleet, built to appear out of nowhere, is now ready to strike. Each ship is a technological marvel, designed to give humanity an edge in this most unexpected war. Back in the council chamber, the Zorvian leader's doubts have not faded. His hand rests on the table, his fingers tapping nervously. But just as he is about to dismiss the anomaly once more, the ground shakes beneath him. The room's lights flicker. The sound of deep, echoing rumbles fills the chamber. The Zorvian leader looks up, his eyes wide with shock. A wave of realization crashes over him. The energy surge wasn't a fluke at all. They've done it, he whispers, horror creeping into his voice. And then, all at once, the room is filled with the blinding light of a massive, opening wormhole, a tear in space itself, through which humanity's fleet emerges, cloaked in their full might. The galaxy's most powerful empire now faces the force they had mocked and dismissed. The Zorvian leader and his council watch, paralyzed, as Earth's fleet emerges from the shadows, ready to show the galaxy the true power of humanity. The invasion of Earth has begun, but the aliens don't know that the real battle is just about to start. The galaxy was vast, and yet, to humanity, it always seemed small. Earth had been overlooked, underestimated, and dismissed as a mere dot in the grand scheme of things. The alien species that filled the universe's expanse had long been the rulers of space. They had conquered countless worlds, each one falling like dominoes under the weight of their advanced technology. They scoffed at Earth, mocked it as a primitive, insignificant planet, unworthy of notice. But behind the curtains of space, hidden from every prying eye, humanity had been preparing for a day like this. Years of quiet, tireless work had gone into constructing humanity's secret fleet, a force so powerful, so technologically advanced, that it could match or even surpass the invaders. It all began in the early 21st century, when Earth's most brilliant minds came together under the guise of secrecy. The best scientists, engineers, and military strategists formed a global alliance. This was a force beyond any nation's reach, an international effort to ensure Earth's survival, no matter the cost. The first step was to build ships that could travel vast distances at unimaginable speeds. They turned to wormhole technology, something that had once been considered theoretical, a mere dream of distant possibility. But in secret laboratories deep underground, the impossible became reality. Earth's engineers managed to develop ships that could navigate through the wormholes, crossing distances that would have otherwise taken centuries. The warships were sleek and powerful, capable of cloaking themselves in the fabric of space, hiding from even the most sophisticated alien sensors. Along with the ships, humanity developed artificial intelligence, AIs that could control the fleet with precision and efficiency, making decisions in fractions of a second. These AIs were the product of Earth's finest minds, created to ensure that the fleet could fight with tactical brilliance, not just raw power. The work was painstaking. Decades went by, each year adding new layers of technology, refining the designs, and training the crew members who would pilot the ships. The military leaders, who had known about this secret project for years, were just as much a part of the effort. They kept their focus on the singular goal: humanity would never be caught off guard again. Commander Adam Bonner had been a part of the program from the very beginning. Even as a young officer, he had known that Earth's survival depended on a force that could fight back. His mind had been consumed with strategy and tactics, obsessed with the idea of leading this covert war. He was a man whose mind worked like a machine, calculating every move, every scenario, every possible outcome. And yet, behind that cold, calculating mind was a man driven by loss, fueled by the memory of the fallen soldiers who had believed in this mission before it was even a possibility. Bonner's thoughts turned to them as he stood in the command center, staring at the holographic map that detailed Earth's defenses. His gaze hardened as he thought of the friends he had lost over the years, men and women who had given their lives in preparation for this day. They had all believed in something bigger than themselves, in a future where humanity could defend itself. Some of them had died in training, some in skirmishes, and others in failed operations meant to test the fleet's strength. Their sacrifices had not been in vain. Bonner would make sure of that. The loss of his comrades was personal to him. It wasn't just a mission. It was a revenge. Every alien that had dared to underestimate humanity was now marked. Their empire, their power, their technological arrogance would pay for every life lost, for every insult they had thrown Earth's way. Bonner's hand clenched into a fist as he stood in front of the giant command console. He could hear the faint hum of the fleet's preparation in the background. The hidden ships were ready, cloaked and waiting for the signal. The energy surge from the wormhole was a sign that the moment of truth had arrived. The fleet would emerge, and Earth would fight back. A voice broke through his thoughts. "Commander, we're ready," came the voice of his second-in-command, Lieutenant Jane Foster. She stood by the console, her face set with determination, her uniform crisp. "All ships are prepped. The AI systems are calibrated. The wormhole is stable. We're good to go." Bonner nodded, his heart pounding in his chest. The weight of the moment hung heavy on him. For so long, humanity had been the underdog, scorned and mocked by the alien empire. But now, the time had come for them to show what they were capable of. To prove that Earth, the small planet that everyone had written off, could stand tall against the greatest forces in the galaxy. "We'll make them regret underestimating us," Bonner said, his voice cold with resolve. His eyes flickered to the holographic map, now showing the position of the alien fleet moving toward Earth. The enemy was approaching, unaware of what was waiting for them. A sudden flash of memories hit Bonner like a wave. He remembered his first days on the program, the secrecy, the planning, the countless hours spent learning, training, and developing the tactics that would ultimately bring humanity's revenge to life. His eyes closed briefly as he recalled those who had believed in this mission and the sacrifices they had made. They had known the risks, knew that if the aliens ever came, Earth would have no choice but to fight or perish. His mind briefly flickered back to a conversation he had had years ago with one of his mentors, General Miles, a tough, no-nonsense man who had been at the forefront of humanity's efforts to prepare for the worst. "They'll come, Bonner," General Miles had told him. "The aliens will come, thinking Earth is weak. They'll mock us. But you, this fleet, you're the proof that they were wrong. And when the time comes, we'll show them exactly what humanity is capable of. Now, that time had arrived. Activate the fleet, Bonner commanded, his voice steady. The room around him hummed with activity as the officers and technicians quickly carried out the order. In the darkness of space, hidden from the enemy sensors, the fleet began to stir. Bonner took a deep breath, staring at the wormhole opening before them. He knew the aliens were close, too close for comfort. It was now or never. Humanity's fleet would emerge from the shadows of space, and they would strike before the invaders even knew what hit them. The moment of truth had arrived. The fleet's final preparations were underway, the warships hidden in the deepest corners of space, waiting to make their move. The aliens would be caught off guard, unaware that Earth had prepared an army of warships beyond anything they could have imagined. The battle would be fierce, and the stakes were higher than ever. But for Bonner, this wasn't just about victory. It was about the countless lives lost, the ones who had never lived to see this moment. It was about making sure humanity had a future. As the final coordinates locked in, Bonner's gaze never wavered. He knew the outcome wouldn't be easy. The aliens had underestimated humanity for far too long, and now they were about to pay the price for it. But Bonner had one thing the aliens didn't: the unwavering spirit of humanity. And that was something no amount of technology could ever defeat. The countdown began, and as Earth's secret fleet prepared to make its move, the galaxy would learn the most important lesson it had ever faced. Never, ever underestimate Earth. The galaxy had never seen anything like this before. The alien invaders, having made their final preparations to attack Earth, felt confident that they were on the brink of victory. They had underestimated humanity for far too long, and now they were ready to make Earth their newest conquest. The fleet of alien ships, massive and technologically advanced, hovered just beyond Earth's atmosphere, waiting for the order to strike. The invaders had laughed at Earth, dismissed its primitive technologies, and believed that Earth's defenses would crumble before their might. They had no idea what they were truly up against. As the aliens made their final calculations, preparing to launch the first wave of their invasion, something strange began to happen. Space itself seemed to tremble. The very fabric of the universe rippled, sending shockwaves across the stars. In an instant, a massive wormhole tore open the fabric of space and time, its immense energy surging through the void like a cosmic wound. The aliens froze, their systems buzzing with confusion. They had been expecting nothing but an easy conquest. But now, the unimaginable was happening before their eyes. From within the wormhole, Earth's secret fleet emerged. The sheer size and power of the fleet were beyond anything the aliens had ever witnessed. These ships were not just ordinary vessels. They were a representation of everything humanity had hidden and prepared for this day. Each ship was a work of art, sleek, powerful, and brimming with advanced technology that could rival the best of what the galaxy had to offer. Their dark, sleek exteriors shimmered, cloaked and stealthy, rendering them nearly invisible in the vast expanse of space. The cloak technology, perfected by humanity's finest minds, made the ships undetectable to the alien invaders' sensors. And then, the silence was shattered. Without warning, the fleet opened fire. It was an attack unlike anything the alien forces had ever encountered. Missiles launched with surgical precision, streaking through space and striking the first wave of alien ships. Explosions erupted in the dark vacuum, the flashes of light so bright they could be seen across the galaxy. The alien ships crumbled, torn apart by the sheer power of humanity's weapons. Energy blasts ripped through the invaders' ranks, each shot from Earth's fleet causing shockwaves that reverberated across the cosmos. The aliens scrambled, disoriented by the unexpected onslaught. They had expected an easy invasion, but now they were the ones under attack, and they were powerless to stop it. Humanity's fleet, in perfect coordination, executed fast-paced, tactical strikes. Each ship used wormhole technology to appear out of nowhere ambushing the alien warships with deadly precision. The wormholes opened just long enough for the human fleet to strike, and then disappear again, leaving the aliens confused and unable to predict their next move. One by one, the alien ships were torn apart, their once proud vessels reduced to debris. The human ships emerged from the shadows, striking swiftly and without mercy, their advanced weapon systems dismantling the invaders' fleet piece by piece. The invaders tried to regroup, but they were already too late. Humanity's fleet was too fast, too deadly, and too well prepared. The action was intense, fast, and chaotic. In the depths of space, the battlefield stretched for light years, a cosmic dance of destruction. Earth's fleet used every advantage it had: cloaking devices, wormhole technology, and advanced weapons. The aliens could only watch as their plans crumbled around them. Meanwhile, on the ground, human soldiers fought to hold strategic positions on abandoned space stations. The fight wasn't just taking place in the cold expanse of space. It had moved to the very heart of the alien empire. Humans fought with fierce determination, their weapons blazing as they clashed with alien forces in close-quarters combat. The stations, once silent and abandoned, now became the epicenter of brutal combat. Laser beams lit up the dark interiors, the air crackling with energy as soldiers fired their weapons, taking down alien forces one by one. The clang of metal on metal echoed in the halls as human soldiers clashed with aliens, their movements swift and calculated. The soldiers were relentless, each strike powered by the knowledge that this was humanity's last chance. There was no turning back now. The visual storytelling of the battle was unlike anything seen before. Orbital bombardments painted the sky with trails of fire, as human warships unleashed devastating barrages on the invaders' positions. Explosions tore through space, lighting up the dark, cold void. Each explosion felt like a victory. Each shot fired a testament to humanity's resolve. The aliens, caught off guard by the intensity of the attack, struggled to mount any form of defense. Their fleets were in disarray, and their commanders scrambled to figure out what was happening. But it was already too late. Humanity's fleet had already begun its counteroffensive, and the tide of war had turned in their favor. In the command center of the human fleet, Commander Bonner watched the chaos unfold on the holographic map in front of him. His heart pounded in his chest as the final countdown began. The battle wasn't over yet, but humanity had taken the first step toward victory. The invaders, who had once mocked Earth, were now on the defensive. They were unprepared for the ferocity of humanity's retaliation. But despite the success of the initial strike, the battle was far from won. The alien fleet, though stunned, would not give up so easily. They had a vast array of powerful weapons at their disposal, and they would fight to the bitter end. Commander Bonner knew this would be a long, grueling fight, and the real battle had only just begun. But the surprise attack had given humanity the advantage. The aliens had underestimated Earth's potential, and now they were paying the price for it. In space, the battle raged on. Earth's fleet continued to strike with precision and power, each ship playing its part in the fight for survival. The aliens, though outnumbered and outgunned, refused to give up. But the tide of the war had shifted, and the invaders could not ignore the new threat that had emerged from the wormhole. As the battle continued to unfold, one thing became clear: Earth was not the weak, insignificant planet the aliens had thought it was. Humanity had proven that it was capable of fighting back with everything it had. The battle for the galaxy had begun, and Earth was determined to win. The battle had taken a turn, and Earth's forces were far from finished, but the situation was becoming more dangerous by the second. The initial surprise attack had shaken the alien invaders, but now the enemy's response was coming. They had underestimated humanity's capacity for resistance, and they were about to learn the full extent of that mistake. As the remaining human fleet sailed through the void, reeling from their first major victory, the alien forces began to regroup. The invaders' supreme commander, Zorax, a ruthless and calculating leader, knew that the time for subtlety had passed. Earth's secret fleet had caught them off guard, but now the real battle would begin. Zorax had prepared his most powerful force for this moment, the pride of the alien empire, the fleet that was meant to crush humanity once and for all. His flagship, the Thenner, was the most advanced ship in the galaxy, a ship unlike anything the humans had ever seen. It was massive, a titan of steel and technology, with weaponry capable of destroying entire planets. As the flagship surged into battle, Zorax ordered his fleet to press the attack. His forces were far more numerous than Earth's, and their ships were equipped with alien technology that far surpassed anything humanity had ever produced. The fleet's sheer size and power made the odds seem insurmountable, but Commander Adam Bonner and his team knew something the aliens did not. They understood the importance of cleverness, ingenuity, and heart. Humanity may have been smaller, but it was not weaker. The battle was far from over. As the alien fleet charged forward, Bonner gathered his team around the command table, studying the holographic map of the battle. The sheer scale of the alien forces made the Earth fleet seem like a mere speck. But Bonner had been in this position before, and his experience and ingenuity had gotten them this far. The odds were stacked against them, but humans had always thrived in adversity. They had no choice but to rely on their strengths, their ability to adapt, their quick thinking, and their unyielding spirit. "We're outnumbered, but we still have the element of surprise," Bonner said to his officers. "We need to outthink them, outmaneuver them. They may have superior weapons, but we have the human mind, and we'll use it to win." With a determined look, Bonner turned to his crew. They weren't just fighting for Earth anymore. They were fighting for each other, for the fallen soldiers who had made this fight possible. But one loss, in particular, stood out to Bonner. Lieutenant Samira, one of his closest friends, had been by his side from the beginning. The two had fought side by side through countless simulations and drills, building a bond that had transcended the battlefield. She had always believed in humanity's ability to fight back. Her death, which occurred during an intense firefight with the alien forces, was a painful blow to Bonner and the rest of the crew. Samira had sacrificed herself to save the rest of the team during a particularly intense engagement. As one of the alien warships bore down on their position, she had launched a suicidal attack, taking out the ship's engines and allowing the rest of the fleet to escape. Her bravery had saved countless lives, but it had come at the ultimate cost. Bonner stood silently in his quarters for a moment, the weight of her death pressing down on him. But he knew that her sacrifice could not be in vain. "We do this for Samira," he muttered, clenching his fist. The crew understood. Every action they took from now on would be to honor her legacy. The tension in the command center was palpable as Bonner's tactics unfolded. The alien fleet was approaching rapidly, and it was clear that this was going to be the decisive moment in the battle. Humanity's forces couldn't afford to play it safe. They needed to strike quickly and decisively, before the aliens could use their superior numbers to overwhelm them. Bonner ordered his fleet to scatter, using their cloaking technology to hide their movements. The Thenner was too powerful, too well guarded, and they couldn't take it head-on. But Bonner had a plan. "We're going to sneak in," he said, eyes fixed on the Thenner's position. "We know its blind spots. We'll use the wormhole tech to get close without them noticing. Once we're in range, we plant the device and get out before they know what hit them." The plan was risky, but it was their best shot. If they could get close enough to the flagship without being detected, they could plant an explosive device inside its core, setting up for the final blow that could end the battle. The humans would have to move quickly, making use of their advanced AI systems to coordinate the attack with pinpoint accuracy. The ships moved swiftly through space, each one cloaked and invisible to the alien sensors. They were ghosts in the dark, slipping through the cracks in the alien fleet's defenses. The tension was unbearable as Bonner and his crew navigated through the chaos, their every move crucial to the success of the mission. The fleet moved silently, like a predator stalking its prey, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Finally, they reached the Thanner, the heart of the alien empire. The flagship loomed large, its intimidating shape dwarfing the human ships. But Bonner wasn't afraid. He had come this far, and he wasn't about to let the alien forces win. He knew that the element of surprise was their only hope. The human fleet executed their maneuver with precision, slipping past the alien defenses and getting close enough to the flagship. Bonner's ship positioned itself just behind the Thanner, in the blind spot of its massive engines. The cloaking technology kept them invisible, and the aliens had no idea they were there. It was time. Bonner's heart raced as he gave the signal to deploy the device. Plant it now. With expert precision, the team launched the explosive device into the heart of the Thanner. The countdown began, and the crew worked quickly to prepare for the escape. But just as they were about to leave, an explosion erupted from within the flagship. The alien forces scrambled to understand what had happened, but it was too late. The device was set to detonate, and in just moments, it would be the final nail in the coffin for their fleet. Humanity had struck back, and now the alien forces would pay the price for underestimating Earth. But despite the success of the maneuver, Bonner knew that this was just the beginning. The battle was far from over, and more sacrifices would have to be made. Yet, humanity's resolve was stronger than ever. The Thanner was going down, and Earth was standing tall, ready to show the galaxy just what it meant to underestimate humanity. The final confrontation was unlike any battle Bonner and his soldiers had ever experienced. Everything had led to this moment, the culmination of years of preparation, countless sacrifices, and the enduring will to protect Earth. After the successful assault on the alien flagship, the human fleet had managed to cripple the alien forces and gain a foothold in the heart of their empire. But even with this victory, Bonner knew the battle was far from over. The most critical phase was yet to come, the personal confrontation with Zorax, the alien supreme commander. Bonner and a handful of his most trusted soldiers boarded a captured alien ship, preparing for the last leg of their mission. Their target was the heart of the alien command center. The Thanner, Zorax's flagship, still loomed ominously in space. It was heavily damaged but far from destroyed, and Zorax would stop at nothing to secure his empire's domination. The time had come for humanity to strike the final blow. As Bonner and his team infiltrated the alien ship, the atmosphere was tense. The once imposing corridors now seemed narrow and oppressive. The hum of malfunctioning AI systems filled the air, the dim lighting casting long shadows along the walls. The crew had already begun the process of shutting down key systems within the ship, ensuring that Zorax's fleet would not escape once they reached the core. The quiet was eerie, as if the ship itself was holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable confrontation. The closer they got to the command center, the more chaotic it became. Explosions echoed from within the walls as debris and sparks rained down from broken panels. The alien soldiers, still loyal to Zorax, fought fiercely, trying to repel the human intruders. Bonner's soldiers moved with calculated precision, using the element of surprise and their superior tactics to overcome the alien forces. They fought like a well-oiled machine, taking down the alien soldiers with deadly efficiency. But Bonner knew that the hardest part was still ahead. Zorax was a powerful, ruthless leader. He had built the alien empire on his own cunning and strength, and he would not go down easily. The battle was going to be intense, and it would take everything Bonner had to survive. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of fighting, Bonner and his team breached the inner sanctum of the flagship, the command center. The room was massive, with sleek, futuristic consoles lining the walls and pulsating energy sources powering the entire facility. At the far end of the room stood Zorax, his massive frame towering over his soldiers. His eyes were cold, calculating, and full of contempt as he looked at Bonner. "You've come far, human," Zorax sneered, his voice echoing through the room. "But your efforts are futile. My fleet will never be defeated. You cannot stop the inevitable." Bonner stood tall, facing the alien leader without fear. The only thing that's inevitable is your downfall, Zorax. Earth doesn't bend to anyone. We'll fight until the last breath. Zorax laughed. It was a deep, menacing sound that filled the room with a chilling sense of dread. You're a fool, Bonner. You cannot defeat me. You're nothing but a primitive race. But Bonner's eyes burned with the fire of human ingenuity and determination. He knew this was more than just a battle. It was the survival of Earth, of humanity itself. He wasn't just fighting for himself. He was fighting for everyone who had ever believed in the human spirit. Without warning, Zorax charged at Bonner, his strength and speed seemingly unmatched. The battle that followed was nothing short of brutal. Zorax was a formidable fighter, his alien physiology giving him an edge in terms of strength and endurance. But Bonner had something Zorax didn't, the heart and mind of a human soldier. He was quick, adaptable, and determined to win. Their fight was a whirlwind of intense action. Zorax's massive fists crashed into Bonner's defenses, but Bonner dodged and struck with precision, using his smaller frame to his advantage. The two clashed again and again, each blow more powerful than the last. Sparks flew as energy weapons flashed, and the very walls of the command center seemed to shake from the sheer intensity of their combat. Zorax was relentless, but Bonner refused to give up. His mind raced with every move he made, thinking 3 steps ahead, anticipating Zorax's next attack. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Bonner saw his chance. Zorax, overconfident in his strength, left an opening. With a swift move, Bonner landed a devastating blow to Zorax's side, causing the alien leader to stagger. The impact was enough to send Zorax crashing to the ground, a momentary lapse in his defense. Breathing heavily, Bonner stood over him. He knew this was his moment to end the battle once and for all. Zorax lay defeated, his once mighty figure now crumpled and vulnerable. But as Bonner raised his weapon to deliver the final blow, Zorax's cold voice cut through the tension. "You think this is the end?" Zorax spat, his voice filled with defiance. "This victory will be short-lived, human. There are greater threats waiting in the galaxy. You may have defeated me, but you haven't won the war. Earth is nothing but a small blip in the grand scheme of things. Others will come, and they will finish what I started." Bonner hesitated for a moment, a flicker of doubt crossing his mind. Was Zorax right? Would this victory truly be temporary? But then, Bonner remembered everything they had fought for. He remembered the sacrifices of his comrades, the fallen soldiers who had believed in this cause long before it seemed possible. He thought of Lieutenant Samira and all the others who had given their lives to make this moment a reality. They hadn't fought just for a temporary victory. They had fought for the future of Earth, for the future of humanity. With a grim expression, Bonner silenced Zorax's words with a single strike. The alien leader's reign had come to an end. Bonner watched as Zorax fell to the ground, defeated and powerless. Outside the command center, the rest of the human fleet moved in to finish what had been started. The alien forces, now leaderless and in disarray, began to retreat. But the humans didn't stop. They knew that this battle was not just about defeating one alien leader. It was about sending a message to the galaxy. Earth would no longer be a target. Humanity had shown the universe that it could defend itself, that it could fight back, and it would continue to do so, no matter the cost. As Bonner and his remaining soldiers watched the alien flagship burn, a sense of relief washed over them. The battle was over, but the war for Earth's future was just beginning. Bonner looked out into the vast expanse of space, his thoughts heavy with what Zorax had said. He knew the galaxy was filled with dangers, but he also knew that humanity's greatest weapon was its unyielding spirit. They had won this battle, and no matter what came next, humanity would face it head-on, with the same courage and determination that had brought them this far. The victory had been hard-earned, and it had come at a great cost. But Earth was still standing, and that was all that mattered. The battle for Earth had been won, but the victory felt hollow. The alien forces that had mocked humanity and underestimated its potential were now defeated and retreating into the depths of space. Earth's fleet, battered and bruised, slowly made its way back to home soil. The silence in the command center was deafening. The roar of explosions, the crackling of energy blasts, and the constant hum of alien warships had all fallen quiet. Humanity had proven itself to the galaxy, but the cost had been immense. Bonner stood at the bridge of his flagship, staring out into the stars. The vast expanse of space stretched before him, calm and serene, a stark contrast to the chaos of the battle. His thoughts were consumed by the events that had transpired, the lives lost, the sacrifices made, and the uncertain future that lay ahead. The alien forces had underestimated humanity, mocked its primitive nature, and dismissed its strength. But Earth had shown the galaxy what it was capable of. The fleet, hidden for so long in the shadows, had emerged from the wormhole with a force no one could have anticipated. The tide had turned, and Earth's place in the galaxy had been secured. But at what cost? Bonner walked through the quiet corridors of his ship, his footsteps echoing against the metal floors. The ship was alive with activity, but there was a somber mood that hung in the air. Crew members moved with purpose, but their eyes betrayed the weight of what they had just endured. The celebrations, the cheers, the victory, none of it could erase the pain of losing so many comrades along the way. The victory was hard-won, and the scars of battle would linger long after the dust had settled. He reached the memorial chamber of the ship. It was a small room, simple yet powerful, dedicated to the fallen soldiers who had given their lives for the survival of Earth. Bonner stood before the wall, where the names of the deceased were engraved in polished stone. Lieutenant Samira's name was at the forefront, etched alongside the others who had perished in the heat of battle. He ran his fingers over her name, his heart heavy with grief. Samira had been more than just a soldier. She had been a friend, a sister in arms. Her bravery had been unwavering, and her sacrifice had been the price of humanity's survival. Bonner had been there when she fell, her last words echoing in his mind. "Finish it. Make them pay for what they've done." Those words had driven him through the darkest moments of the battle. They had fueled his determination to see Earth through to the end. Bonner placed his hand on the memorial, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. The war had been won, but the loss of so many was a burden he would carry for the rest of his life. He had led them into battle, but they had followed him because they believed in the cause. They believed in Earth's future. And now, with the war over, it was his duty to ensure that their sacrifice had not been in vain. Humanity had proven itself capable of standing up to the most advanced forces in the galaxy. But Bonner knew that this was just the beginning. The alien forces that had mocked Earth might have retreated for now, but the galaxy was vast, and it was filled with dangers that humanity had yet to face. As Bonner left the memorial chamber, he could hear the sounds of celebration beginning to swell throughout the ship. The crew had earned their victory, and they were going to savor it. But Bonner couldn't bring himself to join in. He was already thinking ahead, already strategizing for what came next. The fight for Earth's future wasn't over. It had just begun. Back on Earth, the surviving fleet began its journey home. The destruction of the alien forces had left the galaxy stunned, and the news spread like wildfire. Across the stars, civilizations that had once looked down on Earth were now forced to reconsider their assumptions. Humanity had shown them that it would not be subjugated. It had risen from the ashes of its past and taken its place among the stars. But even as Earth celebrated its victory, Bonner couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. As the ships entered Earth's atmosphere, he looked out from the bridge and saw the planet below. It was beautiful, peaceful, but it wasn't the end. Not by a long shot. The news from the front lines had come in waves. Victories, losses, and everything in between. The fleet had returned battered but victorious. The alien forces had been decimated, their ships scattered throughout space. But Bonner knew that this wasn't the end of their story. The forces that had been involved in the invasion of Earth were just a small part of a much larger galactic empire. Earth had become a target, and Bonner knew that more would come. Zorax's warning echoed in his mind. This victory will be short-lived. As Earth's ships made their descent, the celebrations on the ground had already begun. The people of Earth had suffered through years of uncertainty, of being ridiculed and dismissed by the galaxy's elite. Now, they stood victorious. But Bonner couldn't forget the faces of those who had given everything. The families who had lost loved ones. The soldiers who had never returned home. The scars of the war would remain on Earth forever. The fleet finally touched down, and Bonner stepped off the ship, his boots landing on the familiar soil of Earth. The air was crisp, and for the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of relief. The battle was over. But as he looked out across the horizon, he knew that this was only the beginning of something much bigger. The alien fleets had been beaten, their arrogance shattered. But somewhere out in the galaxy, there were other powers, other threats, waiting. The victory on Earth was only a small piece of a much larger puzzle. The galaxy was vast, and it had just begun to take notice of the humans who had dared to challenge the status quo. Bonner walked through the streets, observing the celebrations. People were smiling, laughing, dancing. But the joy felt muted, as if everyone knew deep down that the peace they had fought for might not last long. Bonner had seen too much in the past few weeks to believe that Earth's future was secure. There were too many unknowns, too many threats that remained hidden in the dark corners of the galaxy. The war for Earth's future was far from over. But Bonner had faith in humanity. They had shown the galaxy what they were capable of. They had proven that they could fight against insurmountable odds and come out on top. And as long as they held on to that spirit, Earth would continue to thrive. The victory had come at a great cost, but the human spirit was unbroken. Earth had won the battle, but the war was far from over. Bonner stood alone for a moment, looking up at the sky. The stars were out, twinkling in the distance, and he couldn't help but wonder what new challenges lay ahead. He had no doubt that the galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity had earned its place among the stars. But the question remained, what would they do with it?